out MetLife Stadium, where today the 16-0 New York Giants, playoff-bound New York Giants, will be taking on the 0-16 Minnesota Vikings. Why the Minnesota Vikings 0-16? Because they suck. Welcome to the Gridiron. Anybody at all out there going to spend a little bit of time with me here this evening? I greatly appreciate it. Thank you so much. I greatly appreciate it. Or anybody spends any time at all watching the replay of this, once again, thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. I'm going to go about 30 minutes here, probably more. I think last time when I was like about an hour. He's talking football. But I'm going to go about at least 30 minutes here, as I always try to do every night. Anybody got anything to say? Just please feel free. Throw it in the chat box. I check on the chat box like every 5 or 10 minutes or so. So, I mean, if there's nothing in there now, the next 5 or 10 minutes, I'll be checking on it. So anybody throws anything in there, I always see it, and I always try to respond to it as fast as I can. So please feel free. Fire away. Before I get started, I want to bring up anybody who wants to help support my channel. It would mean the absolute world to me. In the description box below, there's a link. There's the top link in the description box. Takes you to my membership page. I got 3 different membership levels. The first one's called the Saquon. The second one's called the Lawrence Taylor. And the third one is called the Gridiron. Each one's got their own little perks to them and everything like that. There's loyalty badges. Now, the loyalty badges, there's 8 different helmets. Each helmet, okay, is associated with how long you've been a supporter of my channel. The older the helmet, the Giants helmet is, okay, the longer you've been a supporter of my channel. Now, the oldest helmet that I got is a leather helmet. So if you got a leather helmet associated with your name, you've been a supporter of my channel for a long time. There's also 4 emojis. There eventually will be a 5th emoji coming out, but right now there's 4 emojis. You can use them in the chat box or if you're making a comment or whatever. I had them made on Fiverr, and every time I look at them, I get a kick out of them. They're pretty cool. So anybody who wants to help support my channel, it would mean the absolute world to me. And then also, if you're not subscribed to my channel, please hit that subscribe button below and click that bell icon. That way, next time I go live or put a video out or whatever, you'll be notified, and it's free of charge. And then finally, also in the description box below, I got there's 3 links for Facebook. Okay, the top link takes you to my my group. Okay, it's called the New York Giants, the Gridiron. Right, very original. I know. Right now we have over 1,900 members in there. Okay, we've got a lot of stuff going on in it. I posted a lot in there recently. Within the past couple of hours, there's a lot of stuff going on in there. And a lot of people posting and, giving thumbs up and liking and commenting and laughing and all kinds of stuff and everything. But the nice thing about that, if you click on the link and you become a member as well, not only do I post stuff in there as well, too, but the members, you post stuff in there as well, too. Right? So every day I'm in there. At least 45 minutes, maybe even longer, maybe an hour or so, posting stuff in there, whether it's a picture, maybe a post from an article or a video. I make sure it's 7 days a week. Every day I'm putting stuff in there. Every now and then I might miss a day here or there, but for the most part, it's pretty much 7 days a week I'm putting stuff in there. And as I said, not only me, it's the members put stuff in there as well, too. Now, also, there's 2 other links, too, down below. They're to pages. The bottom link is to a page is called This Day in Giants Football History. I'm not as active on that one because I'm between the YouTube channel, the Facebook group, and the Facebook page that I'm going to talk about in a minute here. I'm spending at least 3 hours probably every day in doing that stuff, and it's just taking up a lot of time. Eventually, the bottom link, the one to the page says This Day in Giants Football History. I'm going to start getting more and more active in it. But right now, if you want to click on it, like it, and follow it, that would be absolutely fantastic. But right now, I'm not that active in it. The middle link, okay, there's the 3 Facebook links. The middle one takes you to a page. It's called New York Giants, the Gridiron. Very original, I know. But right now, there's 514 people who like it. There's over 1,600 people following it. Now, I was talking, I think it was like Friday or so. Thursday or Friday, it was over 1,500 people liked it. So somewhere, I don't know exactly, but there's over 1,600 people. But as of a few days ago, it was over 1,500 people. So I'm getting probably 20, 30 people every day following it. So I'm guessing probably, let's see, by the time the Giants play the playoff game, we'll have well over 1,700 people following it. So it's the same thing here as it is with the group. Every day I'm putting stuff in there. I said, whether it's just a picture, I see putting a post up from something, or whether it's a video or anything like that, I'm putting up easily 5 to 10 different things every day. I'm spending at least probably 45 minutes, maybe close to an hour every day in the page as well, too. And we have, as I said, a lot of stuff in here. As I said, I'm the only one to post stuff in here. Okay. But, as I said, that's why I try to make sure I put stuff in here, because I'm the only one to put stuff in on the page. Right. So, but if you go to the page, you like it and you follow it, and you go to the group and you become a member, between the two of them, okay, there's a ton of stuff every day. All right. I always try to make sure every day I'm putting stuff in there. So, and as always, if you're not satisfied, you get your money back guaranteed. All right, all that stuff out of the way here. We got the Giants, with their team and player grades according to Pro Football Focus. Now, we got a couple newbies there at the top of the list. Now, basically, we've had, like, a lot of times on defense, we've had Sexy Dexter being like the number one guy. I mean, we've had some other guys here and there who've done well, but a lot of times, like, Dexter Lawrence is up there. So a lot of times we have Andrew on offense, Andrew Thomas or Daniel Jones is up there. But that ain't happening this week. Why? Because we basically didn't start play any starters at all. Okay, we had a couple starters in there. I'm going to go over them. Okay. Sadly, one of them was a starter, a high draft pick. Whoo. That's all I'm going to say. He's got some work cut out for him. He had a little bit of a rough game. But we start on the offensive side of the ball. How about this guy, Lawrence Cager? Now, coming into this game, he came in I believe I read an article. I think this is his third team. Let's see. He has a grand total, I believe, of 7 receptions. Let's see here. Okay, what the heck we got here? 2022, this week with the Giants, Baltimore. Season. Okay. Yeah, okay. He was with the Jets, he was with Cleveland, and he's with the Giants. Okay. So 3 different teams. Okay, now I believe I read he's had 7 receptions. Okay, coming into this game, 7 career receptions coming into this game. And what did he do? Is it 8 targets? I'm sorry, my bad. 10 targets? What the heck is it? I got so many things open here. 10 targets, 8 receptions, 69 yards. I mean, so in this one game, he surpassed, his career total receptions in this one game. He had, with 8. So, I mean, he had himself, a career game right here. Now, is it somebody the Giants going to wind up keeping? Who knows? But, if they do, I mean, guys like that, like Nick Vannett, Chris Myrick, right? Lawrence Cager, guys like that. What do you know? They're going to be cheap, right? So we'll have to wait and see. I mean, what did he do? He balled out, right? He helped out Davis Webb big time. Basically, he caught, like, what the hell would that be? Like about 35%, of Davis Webb's completions. Davis Webb completed 23 passes, 8 of them, more than a third, went to Lawrence Cager. So I'm just rounding up. I'm just saying about 35% of Davis Webb's receptions went to Lawrence Cager, right? He had himself a heck of a game. and he got rewarded. I mean, there's no rewards, but according to PFF, Pro Football Focus, he graded out a 70.9. Now, what really pulled him down, apparently he's got some, I mean, this might be one of the reasons why, his pass blocking grade, according to PFF. Pass block. Well, he only blocked on one pass block attempt. That's it. Okay. His run blocking was a 51.8. Okay. His passing grade was a 73.9, but his pass blocking grade, apparently on the one play, he had one pass blocking attempt. He graded out an 8.6. So whatever he did badly. Okay. And that might be why he's on his third team in 3 years. But PFF had him graded out of 70.9. Kenny Golladay. Okay. Let's see here. He was in there for, 68 snaps? 68 snaps. 66.1. Kenny Golladay was the second highest. Then Marcus Johnson, okay? He was 65.4. He was in there for 60 snaps. Okay, so a lot of it, I mean, you got like Cager, Golladay, and Johnson. Those were like the three. And you had Slate was in there for 3. I think if I read right or listened right, Johnson got a little winded. Okay, he had to come out for a couple plays, and Slayton went in for him. That's why Golladay was in there for 63 snaps. Marcus Johnson, the Giants only had 2 wide receivers pretty much the whole game, right? It was just 2 wide. I mean, it's and somehow they still scored 16 points, right? There was no big time fancy this, fancy that, or nothing because the Giants had resting all their players, right? So the Marcus Johnson, if I remember reading correctly, he was tired. Well, because he's out there for 60 snaps, right? You're out there, you're not used to playing that many snaps. You're going to get tired. So he got winded. Darius Slayton had to go in there, okay, for 3 snaps. All right. But let's see, what do we got? Yeah, Nick Vannett was in there. Yeah, I mean, a lot of it was like, we had like 2 tight ends, 2 wide receivers, and 1 running back, right? A lot of it was like pass protection, right? Don't leave Davis Webb. Don't let him get massacred. Try to protect him as best we could, and they did a decent job. Okay, Nick Gates at center. Okay, did very well. Who else? Let me see. Do they have anybody on there? They don't. Geez, they don't have. They got Nick Gates in here for 38 snaps. I'm trying to see. They don't have that. Who else took snaps at center? But Nick Gates graded out of 64.4. Okay. So it was kind of thinking like maybe if they do wind up letting Feliciano go, he's just on a 1-year deal, and maybe re-signing Nick Gates, keeping Nick Gates and putting him at center, right? Maybe keeping Gates at center, maybe getting some help, maybe at guard, maybe in the, maybe in the draft or free agency or something like that, right? Because Glowinski won't be here forever. Next year might be Glowinski's last year. We can get out after 2 years from Glowinski. So maybe we'll get the help at guard or something like that. But that'd be interesting to see. Gary Brightwell was in there for 29 snaps. He graded out at 62.8. Okay. We got Matt Breida was in there for 44 snaps, 59.3. Wyatt Davis. Okay, he was in there at right tackle. Basically, it looked like Wyatt Davis and Evan Neal split time at right tackle. Okay, they didn't want to. I guess Evan Neal didn't play the whole game, but they had Wyatt Davis in there. Remember, we got the 2 Davises. Now I'll tell you what, Wyatt didn't do too bad right tackle. Okay, against a very good defensive front with the Eagles. Graded out of 56.2. Okay. All right. And then the other Davis, who I'm going to go over in a minute, had a graded out very well, very, very well on defense. The guy we got from the Lions. Now that he might be somebody the Giants might want to maybe keep around. Now I'm going to very interested. We'll go over the defense. I'll go over it more in a minute here, but very, very interesting on the defensive side. Okay. Then Tyree Phillips was in right guard. He was in there the whole game at right guard. All right. 64 snaps, 55.4. Okay. Darius Slayton was in there for just 3 snaps, 55.3. Nick Vannett was in there for 56 snaps, basically tight end, the other tight end, right? 54.9. Matt Parrott was at left tackle. Let's see, 32 snaps, 50.4. Just nice to hear his name. Okay, nice to see that he's still on the team, right? Jack Anderson was at right guard. It was 64 snaps at right guard. So there's no Glowinski. We had Anderson at right guard. He was at 49.4. Ben Bredesen was at left guard. He played 64 snaps there the whole game. He graded out at 46. Davis Webb, 63 in all the snaps, but he was graded out at 33.8. So, I mean, that's a little brutal considering we had backup linemen in there going up against their starting defense. We had, 2 tight ends, and we had like a 15th and 16th string wide receivers going up against Darius Slay and Bradbury. That's a little brutal. He was 23 out of 40. He completed more passes than Jalen Hurts did. But so he graded out at 33.8, according to Pro Football Focus. The problem is that Evan Neal, right tackle, he was in there for 33 snaps. Basically, he split time with Wyatt Davis. Okay, but Evan Neal had the worst grade on the Giants football team, 28.2. That was his overall grade. Pass blocking was a 40.6, and his run blocking was a 39.2. The man, that's it's just the first year, rookies, right, and all of that. Can have you certainly, obviously, a tackle can get better. Okay, I really, without question, really think that he will work on his craft and try in the off season and get a little bit better. Now, I'm not saying he's going to take like an Andrew Thomas kind of jump from first year to third year or something like that. Who knows? But he'll work on his craft. He'll get better. What is he graded out at so far this year? He's graded out at 44. That's his overall grade, 44. Now, Andrew Thomas was a lot better than that. Okay, so Evan Neal is a 44 at right tackle for the whole year. He's had a couple good games, and he said this one was kind of against the Colts. He graded out a 73.8. Now against the Eagles, whoever, I was once again a very good defensive front. Okay, he graded out a 28.2. So Evan Neal's got some work cut out for him. Now, if we go to the defensive side, now what I just wanted to point out here, okay, is that there's Ronnie. He played well. Glowinski was awful. He will be fine. Who? Evan Neal? I'm sorry. I was on another screen. He played well. Who played well? Glowinski. Glowinski was awful. What did Glowinski do? Glowinski. Up on the wrong screen there. Glowinski. What the heck he grade out at? What are you talking about? You need to get the right footwork together and set right, and he will be fine. Yeah, I think he's going to work on his craft. It just, he's had a tough season. So did Andrew Thomas his first year. Andrew Thomas had rough, but Andrew Thomas also had problems, I think, with his ankles and his feet. Injury problems or whatever. So, but I mean, definitely, I think Neal will work on his craft and get better as time goes by. Yeah, Webb played well. I mean, I'm just going by Pro Football Focus. They had him graded at like a 33. But I mean, it's like, do they take into account that he's playing with everybody's almost a backup? I mean, they had like 2 wide receivers. We never played Golladay. We had basically played with 2 tight ends. I mean, like backup tight ends, backup wide receivers, a backup running back, backup lineman. We're going up against a first-string defense. It doesn't seem like they take that into account. And he was 23 out of 40. No interceptions. They didn't sack him, right? So Evan Neal is a little heavy if he loses a few. He's a big guy. He's a big dude. He really, really is. I mean, a lot of guys I hear people talking about him, they realize he's like 335 or something, 340, somewhere around there, but he just like carries it like so well. He's like a tree trunk. You know what I mean? He's just so tall and just like big and wide. I mean, there's like a big belly or nothing like that. I mean, maybe, with that extra weight, maybe you can get away with that in college because maybe the guys are a little bit slower, maybe not as athletic or whatever. But when you're going up against the best of the best every week, he might need to lose some weight. He might need to lose a little bit of weight, be maybe a little lighter on his feet. But I'm sure in his off season, he'll do something to start working on his craft. It's kind of tough to start doing stuff like that, maybe while you're working, during the week when you have practice and all that. But I'm sure, hopefully, he starts doing something, as I said, whether it's losing weight, working on his footwork, maybe going to, like a karate or jujitsu or something where he starts working on his hands. There's all kinds of things you can do. I mean, a lot, also, maybe working on some strength there as well too. Maybe his conditioning. Maybe he starts getting a little tired, and the guy at the ends just start beating him around the end. Also, I mean, he starts seeing some of these guys' moves. Some of the guys' moves he's maybe not used to. They just beat him, right? He has to practice on some of the moves, that these defensive players have for him, and he's like a baby elephant. Yeah, he is. He's big guy, big guy. But as I said, but you really feel good about about him. It was almost like with Andrew Thomas. What I mean? Is that even though they had a hard time, okay, maybe their rookie season, Andrew Thomas and Evan Neal, you really feel like they're professionals. They're going to take their craft and they're going to work on it. And it might take Evan Neal a couple years or whatever, but you get the feeling that he's going to work on it. He's going to get better as time goes by because he's not used to having this stuff happen to him. Not at all. He can move better if he is a little lighter. I watch him all. He needs to be a little lighter. Yeah, I said he's like, I forgot. It was like 335, 340, 345 or something like that. I mean, he's not like a big belly or anything like that, but he's just a big guy. He's tall. That's why I think looks like he doesn't look extremely heavy because he seems like he's just so tall. He just carries the weight, like I said, like a tree trunk. I mean, that's quite a possibility. Maybe he needs to be a lot lighter on it. Maybe he needs to work with his footwork, his endurance, maybe get a little lighter. I mean, you drop 10 pounds, that can do some, that can certainly help, but hopefully, he how about Georgia? Oh, I'm not even, it was, what was it? It was 10-0, like 5 minutes into 10, so whatever it was, 10. I mean, I can't stand Alabama. I don't really mind Georgia, but I just can't stand. I hate Alabama every year. Alabama's. I don't even watch the championship. I'm just so sick and tired of it. But I mean, is it a blowout? Are they killing TCU? I mean, I'd be pulling for TCU because after like all these schools that get all the best players in there, I don't even bother watching it. It's just no fun, Like as Alabama every year, they're in the Ohio State, Alabama. I just sick and tired of seeing the same teams in there every year. Let me see. I don't know. ESPN. What we got? College football. Oh, well, there you go. It's a good game there. 65-7. Oh my God. Oh my God. 65-7. That was the final. I mean, what a 52, yeah. I mean, to 7, right? I mean, what? Yeah. See, I like Notre Dame. They're my favorite school, but anytime they get up against one of these big teams, they always get routed too. So, I mean, unfortunately, it's a shame. It's nice to see TCU in there, and I'll be pulling for them, but a lot of times they go up against some of those bigger. They beat Michigan. Okay, yeah, they beat them, but it probably should have been like Georgia against Ohio State or Georgia, what I mean, or something like that. But it's just a shame. you get these blowouts like that. It's just not entertaining at all. Yeah, it's not entertaining at all. That's why I don't even bother watching it. It's horrible. Let me get finished. Let me get back to this here. I got with the defense here. Now, the cool thing here is that the two linebackers, okay, Micah McFadden, he graded at the highest. He was a 79.7. Jared Davis, the guy we got from the Lions, okay, he was in there. He was in there for 10 tackles. He was in there for every play, almost every play. 70 snaps. He graded at 70.1. So the guy, Jared Davis might be somebody, especially McFadden. Obviously, we drafted him. He'll be around, okay? But keep your eye on Jared Davis next year. One of the huge reasons why would be because he would be on the cheap, okay? If he's in there, he did well. He did well. He went in for 70 snaps. Look for him to hopefully be around next year as well, too. That'd be interesting to see. Nick McLeod was in there for 70 snaps. He ran a 62.6. Cordell Flott, he was in there for 72 snaps. He played almost the whole game. 60.5. Dane Belton was in there for every snap. He had the one interception. 59.3. Cam Brown was only in there for 3 snaps. I think this is the only time all year, if I can remember correctly, I'm reading a Cam Brown. He's on special teams usually, but not on defense. He graded out of 57. He was just in there for 3 snaps. Jason Pinnock at free safety graded out of 55.3. Carter Coughlin was in there for just 3 snaps, 52.9. Oshane Ximines, he was in there the whole game at 73 snaps, 52.7. Justin Ellis was in there for 48 snaps. He graded out of 49.6. Tony Jefferson was in there at strong safety for 17 snaps, 47.4. Rodarius Williams, they got him graded out of 47.2. But he was in there for 10. He had 10 tackles. So, right. Henry Mondeau was in there for 36 snaps, 44.5. Ryder Anderson was in there 52 snaps at 43.2. Toman Fox, he was in there. I think he had 5 tackles, I believe it was. 42.5. Jack Heflin, who we just got this past week, he was in there for 23 snaps at right end. He graded out of 30.4. And Landon Collins, he had according to PFF, he had a tough game here. He graded 38 snaps. He graded out of 28.5. I mean, Jalen Davis played. He was. I tell you, he was. I seen somebody put a video up of him. Just in the middle there. Coming in, clogging the holes, coming up and making contact and all and everything. So, he was the first round pick. The Lions got him, first round pick. So, I forgot what year they drafted him. He was drafted like 20. It was the 21st or 22nd overall pick or something, somewhere around there. Apparently, he didn't live up to that, but he was doing pretty good. I think it was 10 tackles he was in there on. Let me check this out here. Nope, that's not it. Okay, here we go. Giants. Yeah, 10 tackles, 6 solo tackles, half a sack, 1 tackle for a loss, and a quarterback hit. Yeah. Yeah, so, it'd be nice, some of these guys are obviously, they're always auditioning. You're always writing your resume. Whatever, whether you like the Giants, you're on the Giants team, whether you want to get out of here, whatever, you're always right. Everybody's looking at you. So whether the Giants keep him or not, right? What he did yesterday, all those snaps, he's auditioning for next year, right? So I mean, did he do enough for the Giants to want to keep him around? Well, maybe he'll be cheap. And you got to have these cheap guys. You have to have these cheap guys. You can't pay everybody $20 million. That's just not happening, right? That's why it's important to, you got to have your core group of guys. Maybe you're paying, but then you got to have the guys, your draft picks, producing. If they're not producing, like maybe on offense or defense, they got to be producing on special teams. Especially your 3rd, 4th, 5th round picks or whatever, because they're cheap, they're affordable, right? And then, if you can get some of these other guys, like off the practice squads and stuff like that, you get a couple of those guys, like a Davis, he wanted to play. He's going to be good when Wink gets him straight. Yeah. But I'll tell you, talking about Wink, I saw something possibly because the Cardinals fired their coach, right? I saw that Wink's name popped up. So he might be, Wink might start being some type of a candidate. I mean, especially what he's known with the Giants defense. We're not the top defense in the league or anything like that, but kind of like, we don't have any starting cornerbacks per se because Adoree Jackson's been hurt, right? But he's been dialing up. We've been getting snacks and all that and everything, So what he's done, it's getting noticed. So Wink might have an interview because he said he's wanted to be a coach. So it'll be interesting to see, there's ever a point in time where Wink gets an interview. If the Giants, like say next year, say the Giants get Sterling Shepard back, Wandale Robinson, we got Bellinger. Maybe we can add somebody else in the draft, a nice wide receiver. Okay, maybe we get Colin Johnson back because he was injured. He hasn't played all year. But if we can get some, we get some good wide receivers out there with Daniel Jones, and we start putting up more and more points, then you have to start looking for Kafka. He might be a head coaching candidate someplace. But I read an article where Wink might be, not going, but he might be, they might interview him. That certainly doesn't mean he's going to be getting a job or anything like that, but he might be a candidate somewhere. So, I think there's 5 coaching openings right now. So the carousel is starting to go. It's just right now. So, you might have more in the upcoming days and all and everything. What do we got? I was so proud of our team. They played well for – yep. Oh, yeah. That was almost like a win. You're on the road. The Eagles really wanted to win that game. The Eagles had pretty much their starting gang in there, and we all lost by 6 points. Right? Lose who? Wink or Kafka next year? What are you talking about? Because that's the one problem in the NFL when you're not your head coach, but your coordinators do good. They're on the radar. It depends upon how well Wink interviews. Maybe he doesn't interview well. I'm not exactly sure, but he hasn't gotten a coaching job yet. But he said he's wanted to be a coach. So if the Giants can ever get just say, but now if we can ever stay healthy too, right? If you got Kayvon, you got Azeez, you got Leonard Williams, you got Dexter Lawrence. If we can ever get another good cornerback, right? If we got Landon Collins, Julian Love, Xavier McKinney as our safeties, right? Got Adoree Jackson. If we can ever get another real good, maybe Aaron Robinson can stay healthy, or maybe we get another cornerback in the draft who does well. If we ever get a real good core group of guys and they can stay healthy, yeah, I'm not saying we're going to be a top 5 defense, but we can do pretty good. That's when the guys, those defensive and offensive coordinators, they start getting on the radar, of other teams. They want to bring them in. As with Kafka, that just might be a matter of time. Look, the Giants have done reasonably well with what they've, look at the wide receivers we have. You love the guys to death, but you look around the league, right? Look at the Eagles. They had A.J. Brown and DeVonta Smith. Look at like Miami, right? Jaylen Waddle and Tyreek Hill. Who do we got? We got Chris Myrick and Nick Vannett. So we're doing well with second string wide receivers and all that. So Unfortunately, Kafka might be on the, he might start being on the radar of some of these teams. That's one of those problems. It's tough to keep. You don't want to hold anybody back. If one of your coordinators, if that's their aspiration to be a head coach someplace or whatever, hey, you don't want to hold nobody back. You don't want, if you were a coach, you don't want nobody holding you back. So if somebody wants to be a coach, you go right ahead. I thought it was kind of like Patrick Graham. It was like 2 years ago. He started talking about making people want to interview him to be a head coach. He's turned him down. This is my dream job here. Defense coordinator of the Giants. I want to be. And then after this season, he left. But I'm saying, that's what it is. Once your coordinators start doing good, it's the clock is ticking. It's just a matter of time before they wind up leaving. But the one nice thing is that there's so many coordinators out there. I'm not saying it'd be easy to replace like a Wink Martindale or a Mike Kafka. I'm not saying it'd be easy, but there's a lot of guys out there who really want a chance, and they're replaceable. Everybody's replaceable. Even somebody as good as Dable. There's a coach out there somewhere as good, if not better than Dable. Might be hard to find. You might have to go through 3 or 4 or 5 of them before you find them, but there's a defensive coordinator out there better than Wink Martindale. There's an offensive mind better than Mike Kafka. No doubt about it. Might be tough to find, but then again, that's Joe Shane's job, right? He's out there. That's what he's making some money for, right? So if one of your coordinators winds up leaving, that's what Joe Shane's there for. He's out there. I mean, he's not only looking for players, right? He's looking for coordinators, people in the front office and stuff like So he's looking for everything. I mean, that's what Joe Shane. That's what he makes his money for. But it'll be very, very, as always, freaking interesting. Really, really interesting offseason. Like what I'm hearing the Giants are. I keep reading these reports. The Giants are close to signing Daniel Jones to an extension. What they're going to do with Saquon, right? What about Julian Love? We're going to bring Sterling Shepard back. We're going to try to keep Darius Slayton. He's been there for 4 years. It'd be tough to see him in another uniform. We got a lot of guys. Who we're going to let go, who we're going to try to keep. Obviously, we're going to have some money a little bit of money to spend, a little bit, right? We're going to let go Kenny Golladay, or we're going to try to restructure Leonard Williams' contract because next year, he's got a huge cap hit. We maybe extend him a couple of years and take that cap hit next year and bring it way down and save ourselves $10 to $15 million in cap money next year. That's a possibility as well, too. Who are we going to bring in? Are we going to go out next year and maybe bring in 2 or 3 free agents, maybe $5, $6, $7, $8 million a year, like a Glowinski, right? Or are we going to go out and get that one-star stud? I don't know if there's going to be a wide receiver. Can't think of nobody off the top of my head, but is there a superstar out there, or a good cornerback out there available that might cost us $20 million a year or something like that? We're going to go out and get that one super stud, plug and play guy, or we're going to get a couple like maybe Mark Lewinsky type people. What do you think of the Golladay touchdown? I tell you, it really is a shame. One of the things you're never going to know. You're never going to know. Never. Golladay will have his side, and now whether he talks about it, who knows? Some people just move on, and it is what it is, guys. Because people are going to talk about it. So you may not hear anything from him, but I mean, you're never going to hear, somebody say Brian Dable, what happened with the Golladay? And well, I'll talk about it for about 15, 20. No, it's just going to be we just thought it was just best that we just didn't have him in. That's all you're going to get. You're going to get plain vanilla. What exactly was, we didn't think he practiced well, or we didn't think he earned the time, or we don't think he quite understood the playbook, or this or that. You're not going to get that. it's a shame. But you see what the guy can do. It's not. He's not. I mean, maybe I don't know. Maybe they don't like him running down the field because they don't feel that they have enough time to block Daniel Jones. You don't know. I mean, he's never that guy who's going to, run these phenomenal patterns where he gets open by 2 or 3 yards. He's just not that guy. I mean, he's a guy who goes downfield, for the most part. I mean, I haven't watched all of his game tape and all of his catches and all, but, for the most part, he goes down and he's good at the jump balls, the contested catches, right? Maybe the Giants don't want that. Maybe they want more of the high percentage completions, considering the wide receivers we have or the lack of wide receivers we have, right? We want to keep everything close, high completion. If we throw a 7-8 yard, we want to complete it. If we throw a pass, we really want to complete it. We just don't want to throw something 50-50 down the field and just have them, So that's why maybe a lot of the guys on the field are, guys that can run maybe quicker patterns, shorter patterns, and get open, complete the pass, even if it's 5 or 6, 7 yards, instead of trying to go down deep. Maybe they just don't see he's not a good fit. Maybe for their offensive schemes. It was kind of like the same way maybe with Blake Martinez. I mean, the guy makes tackles. He's in the middle of there, and how many times do we get gashed this whole season? Just guys running right up the middle. Hand the ball off. It's a hole. And they just running right through the Giants defense. It's like, where's Tate Crowder's getting taken out. Austin Calitro, he's not on the Giants anymore either. But he gets blocked out of the play. I mean, where the linebackers at? They're gone. They're getting plowed out of the way. There's nobody there to tackle. Well, at least with Blake Martinez, he was in the middle of the field. And he plug up some holes. He'd make some tackles, and they let him go. So they let him go. Right? And they didn't save really hardly any money. And they let him go. They let basically the best middle linebacker go, inside linebacker go. And they're paying for it the whole year, pretty much with poor run defense in the middle of, a lot of it also is kind of like, something if the guys get on the outside, running the ball on the outside, a lot of times like you see like the ball, they'll hand the ball off and like Tavon comes crashing down, trying to make the tackle, and then they just run the ball around him. He's like turning around looking, they run it, he doesn't hold the edge. So maybe that'll come with experience. Hopefully he'll start being better at the edge, setting an edge. He comes down, comes across the line of scrimmage. You're not getting around me. You know what I mean? So we got to do better at that. But I mean, I just kind of like scratching my head, like, well, why don't we have Blake Martinez? I mean, I just for some reason they just didn't think he was going to fit their system. I don't know. Or maybe they thought this was it for him. It was the last season. He was going to be with the Giants, and they were going to let him go. So why not let him go now? Let him go now, so we can bring some of these young bucks in there. I don't know. I just kind of think it's a little weird because we're paying on average $18 million a year, and you got this guy sitting on the sideline drinking Kool-Aid. He might be in there for like 1 or 2 snaps, maybe in a game. I mean, kind of makes you scratch your head, huh? Really kind of makes you scratch your head. Well, those are the player grades for the Giants after their Week 18 loss against the Eagles. Didn't have a lot of high grades, but then again, these were all pretty much backups, okay, who went against the Eagles starters, all right? And you got to tip your hat. Hey, tip your hat to the Eagles. They went in. They won the game. Tip your hat. They won a division. Tip your hat to them. Congratulations, Eagles. You won a division. But you got to feel good about your Giants. So now, regular season's behind us, and we look forward now to the Minnesota Vikings, who, without question, we can certainly beat them. I think a lot of the guys have a little bad taste in their mouth, right? And I think they want a little revenge on their mind, and the revenge is going to come hopefully in the playoffs. And we can beat the Vikings, then we'll be down to 4. It'll be the Giants, it'll be the Eagles, probably the 49ers, because I think they'll take care of the Seahawks if the Giants win. Giants, Eagles, 49ers. The only other question would wind up being, okay, will it be the Cowboys or will it be the Buccaneers? Will that be? Very, very interesting. But if the Giants win, the Eagles win. I'm sorry, the Eagles have a bye. The Giants and the Eagles, the 49ers, okay, it doesn't matter. I don't think it matters. Right? If the Bucks win or if the Cowboys win, whoever's in it, the Giants will be playing Eagles. So the Giants might be going back to Philly to play the Eagles again in the playoffs. So we played them here. We might be playing the Eagles again in 2 weeks. So at least this time, we'll have our starters in there, and hopefully, knock on wood, if we beat the Vikings, hopefully we come out of the game relatively healthy, okay? And if we have to go back into Philly again, right? Well, hopefully we can take care of business there. That'd be pretty special. But anybody spend any time at all, Ronnie? Thank you. All your comments. Thank you. It's good to talk football with somebody. It's really, really good. Instead of just me here. It's been 46 minutes instead of me just sitting here just talking to myself for 46 minutes. It's really good to have somebody to talk to. If anybody spent any time at all watching this, thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. I greatly appreciate it. Or if anybody spends any time at all watching any of the replay this, once again, thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. Have a great night. You guys stay safe out there. And as always, go Giants! Woo! Oh, yeah.